This is gonna be hard.
Yeah, fresh poster board. I'm gonna need it. check it out. It's all welded up. Now I get to do lots of grinding. All right. Calling that good enough. Want to throw some primer on this thing, and then maybe next time I come here I'll be able to do a little bit of body work. That's the last of the bed patches. So I got that bedside piece all welded in and welds ground down. Same thing with back here. I was going to use this epoxy primer, but at my local paint shop, that can cost $50. So I was like, well, we'll stick with the Rust-Oleum on this thing. I don't think this whole bed is worth $50, more or less. I'll save that paint for something else, but I got everything primered that I replaced. So the outside of the bed is as good as it's going to get as far as rust repair goes. There's so many thin spots in this bed, and the inside is really bad. But I'm not worried about that. At least this way, I can scuff up that primer a little bit and throw some Duraglass on it. Start doing the body work while I'm working on like the fenders and the doors, patching that stuff. So I don't know. Progress. Put a little bit of Duraglass on the sides in the back there. And while I'm waiting for that to set up, and I think I'm going to go ahead and start tackling this. Actually, might be a little easier than I expected. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but I was thinking the hood had more of a crown in the center and it had a radius this way and this way. But from looking at it, I think I could probably just make it, cut a section out and have to form one radius and a little break down here. Much like the rest of this truck, the hood, I mean, it's pretty bad, so I'm not worried about making this perfect. I just want it to look a little better from the outside and not see this giant missing rotted out piece. So well, might as well cut this out too while I'm in here. Maybe I'll just make a hood scoop. Close. Got my Lego race car helmet. A little better. Made some good progress today. Got my hood patched, and I did cut this stuff out and I made some patches, but I primered the inside so I could weld it in. I put some body filler on the truck bed. I know some of you rascals like to smear it on there and sand it off 4 minutes later, but I like to leave it harden up for a couple days. So come back here next, I'll patch those pieces and probably do a whole bunch of sanding. Put some filler on the hood. Oh well. tricky one. I think it's close enough where I can kind of smack it into place. Tell you what, I'm pretty stoked. I'm so happy I could dance, but check out what I did. I got all the patch panels made. So the doors, fenders patched on the passenger side. I went ahead and filled in the antenna hole. If I would have had the antenna, I probably actually would have just put the antenna on there. I think they look kind of neat. But since I didn't have the antenna, I'll fill it in. Fix the hood. On this side, I had a weird little rotten area right there. I had to replace. Again, fender, lower part of the door. And then back here, I went ahead and filled in the old gas door. Now what I did was I filled the tank up almost to the top because I knew when I filled this door, the gas door in, I wouldn't be able to put any more gas in it. So hopefully it lasts a while. You believe that? Anyway, pretty pumped. Now I got 3 zillion hours of sanding to do. Haven't even started knocking that stuff down, but I think before I leave today, I'll throw a little bit of body filler on all the places I did work to, and I'll go to work for the next 3 days. When I come back, I'll have a great big sanding party. But it's a huge relief to have all that crap cut out. It gets so annoying. Repeating and repeating, you know, cutting out the rust, making a paper template, transferring it to metal, welding it in, grinding the welds. I am so happy to be done with that portion of this build. Jeez, I was so over it. I didn't even want to come here because knowing that I just had more rust to deal with, it gets pretty annoying. But if I was going to build a nicer truck, I would have built a nicer truck. So I can't complain about the rust issues when I got what I paid for. And again, I'm trying to build this truck with no money. And maybe at some point I'll do a whole breakdown of how so far I have, actually I'm positive $180 so far at this point because of the stuff I sold and traded and everything. Anyway, I'll do a whole breakdown one day. Maybe I won't. But like I said, trying to do this truck for no money, I'm going to have a bunch of stupid stuff I'm going to have to take care of and rig up instead of just going and buying better doors and better fenders and a nicer hood and a bed. This bed sucks. The bed's the worst part of this truck. As you can see by how much work I've had to put into that. But like I said, I'm stoked to have all that done. This is where I'm going to finish this one. I haven't paid that much attention. I've been editing a little bit as I went, but I know that this one has to be at least 20 minutes to this point. And that's with, you know, taking an hour worth of work and condensing it down to 30 seconds or so of video. I still would imagine with the time lapses and stuff like that, even that I gotta be well over 20 minutes so far. So the next one will just be me basically sanding and hopefully I can get to the point of primering some stuff and doing some color matching and then moving on to some stuff that I need to do to really make it drivable. Right now it does move, but fenders are rubbing, you know, just it needs a lot to be able to actually go down the road. Turn signals I need, all that stuff. But anyway, I've done enough yapping. So that's where this one's going to end. Later.